Ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, my name is Raven and welcome back to my channel. Now, a little while ago, I did a set of videos where I was talking about the heroes that I want to see enter the game in Year 2 of For Honor. I did a video for the Knights, I did one for the Samurai, and I did one for the Vikings. Now, of course, in Year 2 of For Honor, which we're in currently, we are getting brand new heroes after Season 5. So I thought I would continue this series in order to give the devs maybe some ideas if they come across this video. And it's more just, you know, because these videos are really fun to do and I love speculating on what heroes I want to see come into the game and how I think I want them to play. And then, of course, I like hearing all you guys talking about the heroes that you want to see and so on and so forth. It's actually just really fun all around. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Spartan or Hoplite, depending on which one you want to go for. Both are pretty much the same thing, okay? So Hoplites were the main soldiers in the Greek army, and of course Spartans were from Sparta, so they're just badass all around. But whichever one you want to call it, it's up to you. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using Spartan because pretty much everyone knows what a Spartan is. Now, when it comes to a fighting game, especially one set in medieval eras and all that sort of stuff, you have to have a Spartan in the game. They were the finest warriors in the entire world back in the day. They're just all around fucking amazing, and they kick a whole lot of ass. Not to mention they're Greek, I'm Greek, so I love them, and they look goddamn fucking cool. Now, when it comes to the Spartans' weaponry that I'm going to be going for in this video, we're going to be using that shield, we're going to be using a spear and a sword as well. Now, all three of them will be used later on when I talk about the gameplay style that I want this guy to have, but when it comes to the weapons, they are iconic as fuck, they look amazing, and of course, you have a wide variety of what you can use, between the spear being long range, you have the sword being, of course, short range, and then, of course, you have the shield for that defense. And when it comes to the type of armor the Spartan will be wearing, we're not going to go for the whole 300 Spartan, like, you know, pretty much 90% naked thing, because that wasn't really a thing. They did wear some pretty heavy armor back in the day. We're not talking like, you know, plate armor and shit, but at the same time, they were fairly covered. Now, of course, we can have maybe an armor option where you can go like full 300 Spartan, half naked, codpiece type deal if you want, if everyone's into that. But for this one, I'm going to go for more of an armored look when it comes to the Spartan. But now we're going to be talking about the gameplay I want the Spartan to have, and of course, I've come up with something pretty goddamn unique in terms of how he plays. So the Spartan will have an offensive stance and a defensive stance, but the way I've got you toggling between the two is pretty goddamn unique. It's pretty damn freaking cinematic, and it's all around awesome. So first of all, let's talk about the defensive stance. When the Spartan is in defensive stance, he has his shield and he has his spear. Now, his damage overall in this stance is going to be pretty low because once again, he's focusing more on defensive stuff rather than doing damage. So he will have hyper armor, so that way, you know, he can stab through people's attacks if he wants. This will give him a way to trade blows if he, you know, wants to do some damage instead of trying to block and try and do like light spammy poke stuff. It'll be more of he blocks an attack, someone goes to do a light attack, he can sort of hit through it and stab the guy. And when it comes to his shield use, he's going to have awesome shield blocking capabilities. So, you know, they do the one where if you block an attack at the right time, you can sort of follow up with a light attack. Those sort of moves. He's going to have full block stance, of course. That way he can be real fucking defensive and turtly if he wants. When it comes to blocking, not so much parrying. And on top of that, I want him to have shield bashes that will daze your opponent. So, you know, it does the thing where your guard goes missing and everything, and they got that daze thing around their head. I want him to have that. So overall, when it comes to his defensive stance, he's able to strike through people's attacks with his hyper armor to do damage that way. He has all those superior block capabilities with his shield, and then he has the ability to shield bash people, and of course, you know, knock them about and make it harder for them to see what he's doing. But his damage overall isn't going to be super high because, like I said, it's more about defensive sort of capabilities rather than actually doing damage when he's in defensive stance. But now we get into the really fucking unique way that I've come up with in terms of switching into offensive stance. So say you're walking around, you're in defensive stance for most of the game and you want to enter offensive stance. Now, the way this is going to work with the Spartan is that you basically get your spear and you fucking lob it at someone, okay? So you do a massive spear throw. If the spear hits the person, it does a whole bunch of bleed damage and knocks them down. Now, the spear can be dodged. So it's not just an auto fucking I win button. Basically, if you dodge the spear, it just lands in the ground and doesn't do any damage. If you get hit by it, of course, you take the massive amounts of bleed damage and you get knocked over. But the spear, after it hits you, will be put in the ground. Now, once you've thrown the spear, the Spartan will enter offensive stance, regardless of whether the spear hits the person or not. So once the Spartan enters offensive stance, he will pull out his sword and his entire kit will change. Once in offensive stance, the Spartan will now have unblockable sword attacks. He will also have several moves that will cause bleeds, and his shield bash, instead of dazing people now, will be able to knock people onto the ground, okay? So he'll be able to slam people in the face and they'll be knocked over. This stance is going to be very fucking aggressive in terms of how he plays. It's not going to be so much based around defense like the defensive stance is. It's going to be about killing people and just fucking raping people's asses. Now, there is a unique mechanic in terms of how this whole defensive-offensive stance works, okay? So once you're in defensive stance and you throw the spear, you'll be on offensive stance permanently until you walk back up to the spear and pick it back up. So essentially, you can stay in defensive stance for the entire game him if you want to. You don't have to throw the spear, but once you throw the spear, you're now in offensive stance, and the only way to go back into defensive stance is to pick the spear back up. The spear will stay at the location of the person that you threw it at. So if they dodge it, the spear will be there, and it'll just be there all game, okay? So you can just run around the map, do whatever the hell you want. No one else can touch the spear. It's always going to be there. And then whenever you feel like going back into defensive stance, just run up to that location, grab the spear, and boom, you're back in defensive stance. Then whenever you want, piff it at someone, do a bunch of bleed damage, or they dodge it, and then you're back in offensive stance, and you can run around doing your thing. I reckon this is a really fucking cool mechanic, because one, it gives you an option of how you want to play, okay? There's no switching quickly between these two stances, and then it gets all clunky and stuff. No, it's a clear cut. If you want to be one, you can do this. If you want to be in another, you can do that. And by all means, you got to remember, the guy gets thrown onto the ground if you hit him with the spear. So if you throw the spear, you pull out your sword, you go into offensive stance, you can run up, beat the living fucking shit out of him, and then pick the spear up straight away. You don't have to leave it for ages. You can just run up and grab it. And there won't be any time delay in actually picking up the spear. It's not going to be like you have to stand there for 2 seconds and then peacekeepers are just light attack spamming you out of it. No, as soon as you run over the spear, boom, you pick it back up and you're back in defensive stance. So overall, I think this plays up massively to the Spartan. You can see when he's in the phalanx and he's got his spear out and his shield and he's doing awesome. He's fucking impenetrable and he's fucking amazing at defending himself. But of course, we've all seen the Spartan before rip out his sword. He has his shield and he just goes ham on just crushing people, just overwhelming them with these powerful attacks and just raw strength. So I thought it'd be really cool to come up with this whole stance changing thing that incorporates him actually throwing his spear and just ramming someone, or of course they dodge it, but either way he has the ability to do whatever he wants. And of course the whole thing is super flexible. And on top of that, his weapons look freaking amazing and there's tons of customization options. Of course his armor is going to look freaking amazing. He's going to have the whole brush head with the Spartan helmet. He's going to have that awesome Greek armor. He's going to have the big fucking flowing red cape. He's going to look freaking amazing, and he's gonna play really fucking fun in my opinion. But that is it, guys. That is the Spartan. You have your defensive stance where you're able to trade blows and be real defensive if you want to be. You have your offensive stance so you can just go all out, balls to the wall, ham on people if you want, and it is totally up to you. But that is the end of the video, so thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and please let me know your thoughts. What do you think about the Spartan character I've come up with? What do you think about its looks? What do you think about the way he plays and the whole, like, you know, switching stance by throwing the spear? I would love to hear your opinions. And if you like this video and you like what I'm doing here on the channel and you want to support the channel further, feel free to check out my Patreon. There'll be a link down below in the description. A link will pop up at the end of the video. And if you choose to support, it is greatly appreciated. And please share this video around. It does help me out a fuck ton. And if you want to see more videos from me, please hit the subscribe button. I shall see you all in the next video. Have a good one, guys.